We are the Wistl Family Adventures channel. Follow us on our chaotic and crazy adventures as we navigate life in a new country. Today, we finally go to the famous Intramuros and have an adventure exploring Fort Santiago. We are not in the right area, we are actually at the back end of Intramuros. This place is where Jose Rizal spent his final night. So good afternoon from a noisy street in Intramuros. This is the first time we've ever come here. We just drove past Rizal Park and now we're in the Intramuros area. Very loud, very noisy. We have no idea where we're going, so bear with us on this situation. But we've just been dropped off down this really nice street with all the flags and food stalls. And I think we're heading that way through the bridge. Near Fort Santiago. I have no idea, but just this adventure is going to be a really interesting one today, and it is very warm.
So, yes, I should have done my research before coming here.
Because we're in the wrong place.
Not in the places we want.
So as Kev said, we are not in the right area. We are actually at the back end of Intramuros, and actually if you go towards where we were walking, you actually come out of Intramuros and you're on the other side of like Luneta, Rizal Park area. So not the right place. The taxi driver the Grab driver, didn't really know where he was going anyway, because he's never been here. So we're going to get another Grab to take us to Fort Santiago and get to the right place, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that's where we'll end up. But there are so many trikes and people. As soon as they see us, obviously we're getting 50 odd people asking us to take up the tours and take up the carriages and things, which we're not interested in because we're happy to walk. But it does mean that we're getting bombarded with like foreigner prices, which are like triple the price of a normal person, and it even has it on the sheet. It'll show you that foreigners are being charged quite a lot more than normal kind of residents here, which is expected, but we just want to come out of this area and move to the right one. So welcome to Fort Santiago. We are in the right place. This looks a lot more what we expected compared to what we were dropped off at, which was not what we expected, because that was all residential and schools and things that you can't walk near. So you have to kind of walk right out of that area and come right back in. So we're really glad we ended up getting a Grab. I know a lot of you probably screaming at the phone going, no, you're not in the right place. Yes, we know. Now we know where we are, and now we know what to expect, and this is exactly what we expected, isn't it? Yeah. We were not in the right place, and this one gets super stressed because it is very hot, and we do have our kids. Hi! It's just crazy. Hi! Thank you. So many people saying hi. There also looks like there's a lot of school trips going on. There's a hell of a lot of coaches coming in and out of this area, so I assume that it's a really nice historical place for kids and schools to come here and learn. And obviously we home educate, so this is the perfect thing for us. We can do some history lessons, we can enjoy being outside in a new place, and we can explore Fort Santiago Intramuros. If you are coming to Intramuros, just be careful that you know where you're going, because we didn't. And Intramuros isn't what you expect. I thought it would be like a walled Spanish city where you go in one way and you come out one way, but it is still a living city, so there are still people that are residing there, which means that there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on, and it's not that simple. So you need to know where the bits you want to see are, and I would definitely start off here in Fort Santiago for sure. Whoa, we're gonna lock you in? No? There might be rats. I love that you've got like this seriously historical place and then there's a golf course. It's a bit of a juxtaposition, isn't it? So this place is a little bit odd. It looks kind of like an abandoned car park, but then you've got like these really British looking street lamps, and then you just have a cannon in the corner. Yep, and like a little bunkie kind of thing. I think because there's so many layers of history here, you've obviously got what it was intended for, Fort Santiago, and then you've got the Americans using it, and then you had the Japanese using it in World War II. So it must have gone through quite a few interesting cultural changes, because in World War II I doubt they used the cannons. And then obviously we won't talk about all of the like rubbish and things, but other than that, if you look past that, it's really interesting. It's not what I expected at all.
So to get into Fort Santiago, it was
Santiago, I think.
I'm always getting it wrong. 75 pesos per person, adult, and 50 pesos per kid.
So 300.
So 300 in total, which isn't too bad.
No. So we're just walking along this walled edge. I guess this is like the fort boundaries, maybe. I think it does go round the whole of Intramuros, if not partially part of it. I don't know exactly. As we said, we didn't do our research when we came here. We just wanted to kind of give you our first impressions. It's pretty. So behind me looks almost like a moat. It's very interesting. We're walking just along the main wall and it stops just here, but you can go down the stairwell just behind us. I think it stops there. People are walking that way, but I don't really know. But it looks really cool. You've got this huge like wall, you've got the bridge, you've got the water, and then you've got the rest of the park further down, which is where we came from. I don't know if that's where it ends or that's where it turns into something else. We'll have to go and explore what's going on. Turns out you can't go that way like we thought, so we're gonna go down the stairs. Oh my god, is it Totoro again? Everything always reminds us of Totoro, doesn't it? But there's all these kinds of fruits on the floor, and I don't know, you guys know your kind of plants more than I do, but it looks like they are mangoes. Is this a mango tree? Because if this is how big mangoes get, that's insane. There's hundreds of these trees everywhere, and there's all these green fruits on the floor, so I don't know if they are. That's so cool if it is. What's even more strange is that you have this historical site filled with history, and then in the background you've got all of Manila Bay's high rises and normal life. It's really, really strange that that's so right there. We are surrounded by condominiums and tall high-rise buildings, and then in the dead center of it you've got something like this. Really strange. So really, really cool. This place is where Jose Rizal spent his final night before he was executed in Fort Santiago. This is like the theatre, but I guess maybe it was a prison barrack or a chapel cell. They called it a chapel cell. That's really cool. Obviously we learned a lot about Jose Rizal when we went to Luneta Park. We've also kind of read up about him. We got some books sent to us, so we are a little bit buffed up on our history. We know some stuff. We didn't come here completely unprepared, but this is really cool. It's really open and you can walk everywhere. And Fort Santiago looks like it was just that area, didn't it? And actually you walk through the kind of fort wall, or the big wall we went through, which was all gated and looked really ornate, which was burnt down by some Chinese conquerors in the 1500s. So if you did want to know that, there's another fun fact I'm throwing at you. Actually you have all these little pockets of places to go and walk, which is so interesting. So we're having a really good time. It is super hot, so our hours are numbered here before we turn into puddles, but for the meantime the sun's in, we've got some fans, we've got water, we've got umbrellas, and we're doing all right. But it's actually quite interesting. I'm really loving it. So this area of Fort Santiago is super interesting. This is where they actually embedded Jose Rizal's footprints on his walk to martyrdom, which was his final walk before he was executed. I don't know if you can actually see the footprints. We're gonna go walk through this really small little archway. It'd be really interesting if we can see it. So once you come through that archway, which is where the Spanish army actually retreated from the British War, you are treated to the whole view of the river and this side of, I assume, Manila Bay, which is very, very cool. Lots of hustle and bustle, all the main roads obviously, and condominiums, and kind of more of the modern life. But we're sitting on the other side where we're kind of in a very historical place. It's very interesting. It's two different worlds. Actually, it turns out that we kind of know the area we're in because over there it says Binondo. So we are very close to Binondo and Chinatown and all that sort of area, which is just past Manila Bay. The river that we just sat by is called the Pasig River. So now, see, we're learning. We're getting our geography bearings now. So this part of Fort Santiago is actually a little bit more serious. Here is the resting place of 600, over 600 I'm probably sure of at least, Americans and Filipinos that obviously had atrocities done to them during the Second World War. It says there that they were probably kept in dungeons and suffocated and starved. So not the nicest way to go. And just here, they're all buried right under there, which is incredible. Yeah, really strange. Not a nice kind of part of history, unfortunately.
I haven't seen any of them.
So behind me are loads of constructions and replicas made of Lego, which our kids love, of buildings and sites that were really important in the history of the Philippines, a lot of cathedrals and important structures. And me and Kev were thinking like, well, why haven't we seen any of these things? And the answer is because a lot of them have been destroyed, and now they are either kind of flat spaces, they're under construction, or they're now condominium buildings. So that's interesting. But a lot of them were destroyed by either earthquakes or during the World War II situation, like all the bombings, I assume, and things like that, which is really, really sad because some of them look spectacular, but they just don't exist anymore. So that's really sad. But it's really cool that they've made them out of Lego because, as I just said, the kids, they love their Lego. Whoa, where are you going?
I don't know. Dad wanted it. It looks interesting.
So on the second floor of this structured building, there are more Lego buildings, but they are, I suppose, a little bit more modern. There's also ones of the Philippine eagle, and I think this one's a tarsier. You're going into the dungeons?
Yep, into the dungeons.
Oh my goodness. So to get in, you really have to bend over. So this is going to be really interesting. Let's have a go. Oh my goodness. That's like going to hit my head. I'm so tall.
Yes. How sad it is that 450 people were found dead in this space.
Oh, can you imagine seeing that? I must admit, if you do suffer with claustrophobia, this might not be for you because a lot of things are super low. So if you're a tall person or even average height, it's a little bit tricky to get around.
Here's where the water is. You must do
Did you step in it?
No.
Gotta be careful.
Must have been like a flood or something.
So the way out looks a little bit easier to get out of, especially when you are a tall person, than the last time. This is kind of like almost like a little tunnel, but going up. And it is very steep. Be very careful. I think one of the kids just nearly hurt themselves.
Gonna get stuck.
No, I did on the way in. So here are some steps, I assume, that go into the dungeons as well at other points. There's lots of coins that have been thrown down there, so maybe to pay respect. But it looks awfully claustrophobic and dark down there. I wouldn't want to be down there. So on top of the building, there's all these open spaces, I guess like under the buildings, where all these tunnels and networks, I guess attached to the dungeon potentially as well, which is really scary, I think. To me, it really reminds me of the Colosseum in Rome, which I have been to, where the whole floor is open and you can see how the slaves and the gladiators and the animals were all kept. And it's very scary. I suffer really badly with claustrophobia. And heights, so things like that, I would probably have died just straight away and instantly. I wouldn't have survived very well, but that is super scary, and my heart goes out to all those people that had to stay down there and suffer like they did. So we've just seen the famous bamboo bikes, which we were hoping we would see. We aren't in the kind of area of trying to ride today in this heat, but they're quite cool looking. I thought they would be a lot more bamboo-y. Do you know what I mean?
Do you pay for them?
I think so. I think people have rode them in because I don't remember seeing them earlier. So we just went through the Jose Rizal shrine. Out of respect, we did not film in there because it did ask not to, although there were a lot of people that did it anyway. But we just wanted to be very, very respectful and actually take in a lot of the history and read a lot of it. The alcohol burning thing with the poem inside of it was in there. There were pieces of his bone that was shattered by the bullet that killed him in there. Really interesting pieces of history. Lots of paintings and a whole timeline. So people that aren't really aware of a lot of Filipino history, especially Jose Rizal, which we are a little bit now, we're kind of history buffs a little bit more on that subject. But even if you're not and you're a foreigner and you're coming here and you just want to learn a little bit, it's super laid out in such a good way. It's all in Tagalog and English, so if you aren't a native speaker, then you can really understand and read all the parts about it, which we really appreciated. It was definitely really worth it, and it's free to go in. Obviously you pay to get into Fort Santiago, and it comes under that price as well.
So we're right about the trees, and we got really lucky that a kind gentleman gave us a couple apple mangoes.
Apo mangoes, I think. APO.
Oh, I think it's apple.
Apple mangoes, maybe. But we did think that they were mango trees, but I didn't realise they got so big. And there's hundreds here, so there's so many. Like there's one there, there's one there. They're lining the whole Fort Santiago. So the man who, he collects them and he eats them, but he gave us some as well, which is so cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So we're just slowly making our way back out of Fort Santiago. We've just done the Jose Rizal Shrine, and we now have some souvenirs. We have some mangoes from Fort Santiago, where Jose Rizal unfortunately was captured and died. It's crazy. Now we have a little piece of history. Those mango trees have probably been growing here for years and years and years. They are huge, and there are people with nets everywhere trying to get them. There's a guy over there actually doing the same thing.
I'll try and mix one mix.
One mix.
So we all picked up one of the dirty kind of ice creams, is what they're called. And you've got avocado mango, and the kids have got mango as well. So we've all got our dirty ice creams on the side of Fort Santiago, waiting for our Grab to take us back, but we've had a really good time. The weather has unfortunately beaten us for the day, but I think we made the most of it. We did quite a lot. We went literally everywhere you could go. We went. We spent a good time in that museum, or the Rizal Shrine, sorry. And actually, I would super recommend it for like, what was it, 300 pesos?
Yep.
I mean, and that's for a family of 5. So obviously, if you're going on your own or just as a couple, it's going to be a lot less. But we really enjoyed it, and we've got a lovely, refreshing mango ice cream. So sweet, so delicious. I love getting ice cream like this. The last time we did this was Baguio, and we got strawberry ice cream. So we're going to finish our ice creams off and head back. But we hope you guys really enjoyed this video today. We loved coming out. It's another piece of Filipino history that we've all learned today as well, and definitely super worth it. So we're gonna go and get in the cold because it is getting too warm. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Salamat po!
Salamat po! Salamat po!
Salamat po!